You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cricket Podcast, where someone needs to call Michael Jackson because it's thriller time. The IPL kicked off this week. We've got two really great games, and we've got Mumbai Indians on the brink. I'm Jack Hope. I'm joined by Ross Legg. How are you doing, Ross?
I'm buzzing, and a Michael Jackson introduction is something I didn't foresee. So, thriller, killer, Miller, that would be the win if the Gujarat Titans would have been good enough to get it over the line. But unfortunately, they weren't.
Max, I did think about saying Alfred Hitchcock instead of Michael Jackson, but I didn't think he had the same global appeal. Would you have gone for Hitchcock instead?
What was your Hitchcock angle? Psycho?
Thrillers. He makes thrillers.
He makes general thrillers. I think Michael Jackson was the way to go.
I'm glad I did now.
Yeah.
With that response, maybe there'd have just been thousands of really confused people. I thought that was obvious. But,
What do you mean? Where were the birds?
Whatever. Yeah, that's right. We'll be talking about Delhi Capitals v the Gujarat Titans. Titans. We'll be talking about the Lucknow Super Giants, or really Marcus Stoinis v the Chennai Super Kings. And we'll be talking about Jaiswal and a rampant Rajasthan Royals dismantling Mumbai Indians to leave the team that everyone thought would be the God Squad in pretty big trouble. Before we get going, a reminder to everyone to make sure you're clicking like and subscribe if you're over on YouTube, clicking follow if you're on Spotify or Apple or another podcast player. And why don't you check us out on social media as well, at the Cricket Pod, wherever you do your social media-ing. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, the other one, Twitter, that's it. Max, should we start with today's cricket match? It's hot off the press. It is hot off the press. Talk to me. What happened for people who can't remember 8 minutes ago?
It's hot off the press, and it set the printer on fire because it was a hell of a game. And it all started with Delhi Capitals getting off to a decent start with Fraser McGood, 23 or 14, injecting some life into the Delhi Capitals opening pair. But Sandeep Warrior had other ideas and took two quick wickets, and sort of Delhi Capitals kind of meandered along a bit. Axar Patel was promoted to 3. They've obviously been watching the Ravi Ashwin ploy of Rajasthan and decided that is the secret to a successful cricket franchise. And it looked like it might be a bit of a mistake, but he did catch up a bit at the end, bashing a few sixes off Noor Ahmed. And that was the catalyst for Rishabh Pant to go absolutely ballistic, in particular off the final over against Mohit Sharma, where he took him down for 6-4, 6-6-6 off the final 5 balls. And, ruined him and his figures. 0 for 73, 224 for 4 for Delhi, and all for Gujarat to do. And they nearly did it. Again, lost a couple of quick wickets, but Riddham Saha got off to a good start. Sai Sudarshan did well. And then it was handing over to David Miller, who entered into a state of fury, bashing the ball to all parts. And you thought if he stuck around for any longer, it was going to be simple, really, for Gujarat. But he immediately didn't stick around and got caught by the youngster Rasik. And then you thought that was that, all done. But we forgot that Rashid Khan exists. And for some reason, Sai Kishore can also hit sixes. I was not aware of this fact. I've been made aware of this fact. And it came down to the final delivery with the prospect of a super over on offer. Rashid Khan hitting sixes at the start, turning down singles. It was all there, but just at the last, he failed. And it was a squeaky win for Delhi Capitals. And it was an unbelievable game. So much so that Kevin Peterson forgot words and just started screaming noises into the commentary mic.
I think that's any given Wednesday, if I'm perfectly honest, for Kevin Peterson.
Waiting
Ross,
Wednesdays.
Did you enjoy the cricket?
Yeah, Brilliant. Well, we've got a little bit unlucky this year when we're doing live shows. We normally get really poor games just after there was a brilliant game kind of the day before. And so here I was kind of sitting there, they needed like 86 of the 35 balls or whatever it is. And Killer Miller, he's flattered to deceive, isn't he? He's been injured this tournament. He's not really we're not seeing the best of him. And he had a bit of a purple patch over the last kind of 2 seasons. And they were really, really missing him. And unfortunately, Tawatia pretty much gave away his wicket, which was pretty quite disappointing to call it Yadav after a wide one. And yeah, just the flame was going out. But Rashid Khan, he's an enigma, that man. And Mohit Sharma looks like he was almost like the parking attendant outside the stadium, just in the middle of it. He didn't even complete the run. When they lost, right, Rashid Khan hit it straight to the fielder. Mohit Sharma just stood in the middle of the wicket, just as like, yeah, you can park your car over there, Rashid, and Rishabh Pant, your car's just over there, and wait a second, he'll come back. So clueless, really. So if they lose by 1 run, which is very unlikely on net run rate in the end of not qualifying, Mohit Sharma's to blame.
Max, I'm going to throw something over to you on this. Delhi, are they sneakily getting good?
I think again, like there's the odd sign, right, that there's something going on.
3 wins in 4. It's more of a sign.
Yeah,
more than
and
a
there's
sign.
something going on that kind of makes sense. I think Fraser McGurk is. I mean, he didn't do all of that today, but I think he's made a difference in the sense that he's always going to start the innings off with a bang. Or at least try to, and he's been pretty good at doing that so far. And it just adds a bit of impetus. And I thought the Akshar Patel thing was really interesting today because, I mean, it's the classic like trying to delay people coming in, right? I mean, you've seen Sunrisers do it a bit with Heinrich Klaassen, as I mentioned. The Royals do it with Ravi Ashwin to push Hetmeyer further down the order for when you want him to come in. And today it meant that Tristan Stubbs came in. With an over where Gujarat had to bowl Sai Kishore because they'd held him back when there were 2 left-handers in the crease. And he took him down in that 19th over. And then Rishabh Pant took Mohit down in the final over. And, you know, so that's what there are things that kind of coming together on the batting side where you're like, this is, you know, there's thought going into it. There's actually got some good players. Rishabh Pant's having a great year, which is so good to see. Tristan Stubbs is coming out. And, you know, making a name for himself as well. So, I mean, on the batting side, I think DC, yeah, there's a lot to like. The bowling side is still a problem, right? Like, Kuldeep aside, Amrik Nortje has gone for 16 again today. I mean, there was no Ishant Sharma, so it was Rafiq Salam who came in and, to his credit, did pretty well in those middle overs. Fantastic bit of wicket keeping from Rishabh Pant and to take the wicket of Shahrikh Khan. But you're looking at this and like for all of that good stuff, if you look at the last 2 overs of that Gujarat innings, of that Delhi innings were kind of extreme. And, you know, the bit of fielding that Tristan Stubbs pulled off to stop Rashid Khan hitting a 6 at a very, very vital moment in the 19th over was also quite extreme. So for all of the good work, they so nearly blew it. And I think that's the problem, right? There's not enough depth to capitalize on what's good. No
They're playing the sacrifice as well, aren't they? In Shy Hope, they were adopting that,
yes,
and even more so an overseas sacrifice of all things.
All the favourite
cricket gods loves that.
Plays. Yeah,
yeah. Ross, different question for you, but along the same lines. Are Gujarat kind of lucky to have won 4 matches? Because I seem to basically remember them fluking wins from situations like they were in today. They didn't manage it today. They've got a record of 4 and 5, and net run rate of nearly -1. Worst net run rate in the tournament, except for our old friends RCB.
In this game,
like should it's 5 matches left. Can they win 4 of them, or is this maybe the last we'll see of them in a competitive contest?
Well, it's weird, right? Because on the last 2 seasons of the IPL, Gujarat Titans on paper, you were just like, this doesn't really make sense. How do they keep on doing this? And I saw in the Discord chat earlier, Jack, that one of the guys asked for a bit on kind of clutch performances, and there was a bit of that about Gujarat Titans. It was just like, how is this truly sustainable in this space? Because they got out of jail so many times with that Tawatia magic at Punjab Kings or Rashid Khan's brilliance elsewhere. And you're just like, how is this going to be a cricket team that kind of gets them to that position? And it's almost like they've taken out little bits just as they go, just to see what they can get away with winning with. It was almost like, what is the worst we can play and still win? I'm still not convinced they're picking their best 11, if I'm perfectly honest on it. You saw in the different areas for Delhi Capitals is that they've not been brilliant, right? Delhi Capitals were there to be got at, I thought. And actually, I didn't think that they picked the best bowling lineup, if I'm perfectly honest, today. And I also think that when it comes to their kind of batting, there's a little bit of, they've got some absolute passengers in there. So I think Gujarat, unfortunately for them, I'm thinking that it's going to be tricky to get back, but they pull things out the bag. Delhi, I don't think are going to make the playoffs. I think it's a bit too little, too late. So I think Gujarat probably have a slightly bigger chance. It's how I'm seeing it at the moment, but purely on the fact that they've got to play RCB and Delhi again, haven't they? Is my understanding of the fixtures. So,
yeah, I don't know. If I'm looking at it, I'm thinking that's pretty much curtains for Gujarat. Gujarat last season they won 10 games, and the year before that they won 10 games. And were there a couple of fluky wins in there? Like, yeah, for sure. Like hitting 2 sixes off the last 2 balls. Even if it's Tawatia and even if it's Odean Smith bowling, a lot of crazy stuff kind of has to go your way to win that one. But that's only one of the 10. Like, I think they were probably over the last 2 years. In fact, I don't even think that's a controversial statement. I think in 22 and 23, Gujarat Titans were the best team in the IPL overall. 2 finals, won 20 games in the group stage. That's excellent cricket. I think that they're a far cry from that now. And obviously they've lost Hardik Pandya and they've
Mohammad Shami.
Yeah, we'll be talking about
Shami's a big loss.
Yeah, he is. But the team we've got now is bad, and I think they're probably lucky to even have a puncher's chance at this point when you factor in the games that they've managed to actually win.
You were talking about fixtures, Ross. Gujarat's next 2 fixtures are both RCB. So
no, that's what I mean. So
give it a week and they'll be back in the hunt.
Yeah, their net run rate is going to be it's going to be positive at the end of those 2 games.
But then they have to play Chennai and KKR and Sunrisers.
I'm not saying they're getting to the playoffs. I'm not saying they're getting to the playoffs. I'm saying that I think they've got a better chance than Delhi of getting to the playoffs. I think Delhi are actually shit, if I'm perfectly honest. I'm not on the train. Delhi's bowling lineup is, other than Kuldeep, is rubbish. It's not at the standard it needs to be competitive in the IPL. I think that they've got a little bit lucky. They've got, I think it's fair to say today, they were awful in the field, absolutely awful. Like there was 4 or 5 drops, and they were almost like critical drops, right? They were so close to being, and you just sit there and go, they are not a complete cricket team. Ricky Ponting's I would not like to see Ricky Ponting's hotel rooms, because I can imagine he's someone who kind of destroys changing rooms when he used to get out batting. You can see the fire in Ricky Ponting. This team must absolutely infuriate him, but they are where they are. So I think we can focus on the positive, which is Rishabh Pant is well and truly back. He was his blistering self. He took Mohit Sharma for 62 runs personally. That is talk about a bunny on
like
the
a
opposite
nemesis.
direction. You've literally absolutely destroyed that guy. He might have been going, do you know what? Next year, going into the IPL auction, they're going to look at my stats. I'm going to have a good economy rate, etc. This blows out of the water. He goes right back into the middle block. So fair play, Rishabh Pant. And on the ESPN Crick Info commentary that was following this on earlier, they were saying Rishabh Pant, he's humorous and he's really good, but he's not had a good IPL. I'm not sure which Rishabh Pant they've been seeing, if I'm perfectly honest. I didn't really understand what they were saying. He's now sitting pretty, I think, in 4th in the top run scorers for this.
That's not very good, Ross. That's not very good at all.
So, Rishabh Pant, and his keeping was also pretty spot on as well. He took a catch standing up. I think it was Sharat Khan who edged one, and that was an absolutely brilliant bit. And sometimes they're a little bit lucky, but you've got to stay low to those pieces. He's staying up to a Paul Collingwood-esque bowler, and he's taken an absolute blinder there.
Yeah, there's a few things you touched upon there. Rishabh Pant, I think we can all agree, is having a fantastic year. Mohit Sharma was having a pretty good year considering where he bowls, an economy rate of just over 9 going into this match. Then he goes for 73 runs, I think, today. That is bad. I mean, yeah, he did get Rishabh punted, which didn't help the situation. But his economy, it went up by a run for the tournament. It went up by an entire run because
he played 2 games of cricket today, Mohit Sharma, and had 2 bad games.
Yeah, basically because of Rishabh Pant. He's really good. There are a couple of other good players for Delhi as well that are worth a shout. Tristan Stubbs, 26 or 7, finishing the innings off. We've seen he's had a really good year, Max. Like he's had a really, really good year.
Breakout.
Nice.
Oh, he's a genuine breakout, I think, this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's beaten Lord Brevis to the up and coming, exciting South African trophy, hasn't he?
Yes. Oh, 100%. Yeah. No, it's. He was at Mumbai, wasn't he? They released.
Yeah, they had both, didn't they?
Yeah.
They hedged their bets and then cut the hedge in half and kept the broken hedge.
And then Kuldeep Yadav as well, Max, has had a really, really good season. And it's a good sign for India going into the World Cup, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's that wicket-taking ability you've got in the middle overs, isn't it? That's so crucial in a T20 side. The kind of thing that will probably be very helpful in the Caribbean. I have no idea what it'll be like on the pitches in the USA. Can't wait to find out. But yeah, really, I mean, both Kuldeep and Rishabh Pant. I mean, Kuldeep Yadav's redemption arc happened a couple of years ago, didn't it? Under Rishabh Pant. But it's going strong and Rishabh Pant coming back. It's exciting for the Indian T20 side, at least, if not for the Delhi Capitals, because I think we can say goodnight to their chances realistically. But at least they're coming out like with some pride. Like they're going to be in the buttercream, aren't they, Ross?
Yeah, Jack backed Delhi last year, and they were absolutely dog shit then. I don't know why he's doing it again. You're falling into the trap.
I'm going Delhi. No, I'm not. I mean, they're not going to. They need to win 4 out of 5 matches, and they're not that good. But I think it is fair to say at this point that they're
in the race for 7th.
They surpassed early season's expectations. They look like they would be the worst team in the IPL. They're not even going to be in the contest for that. They are more likely to make the playoffs than they are to be in anyone's conversation for the worst team in the IPL, and that is
okay. All right,
that's mainly thanks to RCB, but yeah,
that's a big improvement on where we thought they would do. Yeah, look, RCB have played a part in that, Punjab have played a part in that, and Gujarat are playing a part in that. But
don't forget Mumbai in that. Mumbai are 3 and 5.
Mumbai have got a game in hand. You never know with Mumbai. They could be the fifth best team in the IPL. Mumbai, that's a possibility. But I think Delhi, we have to give them credit for performances like this. Like if they were truly bad, they would have lost this game. If they were truly bad, they would have found a way to screw it up.
And to be
fair,
they
managed to get
did
basic things right today. Like they put their best fielder in the place where the ball might get hit for 6 and hit it back into play. And that kind of thing that's not the sort of thing RCB would do, is it? Like they'd have
Siraj would be there.
Yeah, exactly.
They've subbed on one of the players' child, sub fielder. Oh, he's in. But they did. Delhi did an awful lot wrong today and still won. So yeah, by that logic, fine.
Right, let's take a break. Then we're going to come back. We'll talk about yesterday's. That was an absolute blast yesterday, wasn't it, Max? It was. We'll get your thoughts on it in a moment.
Do we have to?
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Cricket Podcast, where we're going to be talking about Chennai Super Kings v the Lucknow Super Giants. I really enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed how quiet the crowd went in this game. It was like a proper sporting contest.
Apart from one guy.
Apart from one guy who might now be dead. We don't know. If anyone knows where the one Lucknow Super Giants fan is, can you please report him safe to the Cricket Podcast?
He was a little blueberry in a sea of bananas, wasn't he?
We're very concerned about him. Before we get into that, Ross, can you tell people about Serious Cricket?
Yes, we are sponsored by Serious Cricket, and if you want to get some new cricket equipment, bats, gloves, helmets, kit, whatever you need, and you live in the UK, go to our affiliate link and you'll get yourself a nice treat because they are absolutely brilliant. So if you go to Serious Cricket via the link in our show notes, you will go and enjoy yourself ahead of the cricket season. I'm going to have to get myself a new cricket bat, lads. I've broken my cricket bat. So
Again,
Is it beyond repair?
I've sent it off for repair, but they're never the same, are they? Once you get a cricket bat repaired, they're never they don't quite ping like they used to.
You might get another half a season out of it.
Maybe if I'm lucky. And I need some new gloves, so I'll be using that link more than likely tonight. Cricket season starts tomorrow for the mighty I Don't Like Cricket Club based in London. If you are any good at cricket and you want to play some cricket this year, get in touch. Only if you're
Matt,
good, though.
Yeah, you have to be average of 50 with the bat. we'd probably, to be honest, we'd probably take average of 50 with the ball
in
as
first
well.
class cricket, ideally.
Yes, we want you to be as good or better than Inzerman was when he was young. That's the entry standard. Max, what happened when CSK played LSG?
Well, Jack, you've just said what happened by clicking Farhan's comment and putting it on screen. What happened was Marcus Stoinis. I read a tweet this morning, and it was a tweet from Harsha Bogle talking, eulogizing about Ruturaj Gaikwad, who, in fairness, was fantastic yesterday. He scored 108 off 60 balls. He was back opening for CSK where he belongs. Enough messing around with that, although I was sorry to see the absence of Ratchin. And he played beautifully. An absolutely stunning century from him to propel, with the help of Shivam Dubey, as Jack comes in modelling a beautiful LSG shirt from last season. With the help of Shivam Dubey, who's hit 66 of 27, and again, just banging sixes. Got CSK to 210 for 4. Emma Stoney, obviously 4 off 1 ball. Not quite Unai Cat, but not far off. At the Chipok, pretty good score, you'd say. But what Harsha Bogle said about Gaikwad's innings was generally, just paraphrasing, that it was beautiful to watch, elegant. CSK lucky to have such an incredible cricketer, and it's a century that no one will be forgetting anytime soon. Unfortunately, everyone forgot about it almost immediately because Marcus Stoinis came out and said, "Hold my beer, gents," and literally single-handedly destroyed CSK. 124 off 63. And so that he did have some help. I suppose Nicholas Puran, 34 of 15, a good contribution. And Deepak Huda, to his credit, when Puran fell, came out and kept the momentum going with a very important 17 off 6 when he was the rare moments that he was on strike. But Marcus Stoinis takes all of the credit for what he did. It was an absolute takedown of the CSK bowlers. And sometimes, as a fan of the team that's lost, you do just have to take your hat out. Take your hat out of your bag, put it on your head so that you can then take your hat off and say, well done, mate. That was really good. Fair play. And I think that's what the CSK fans would have had to do. So I hope they did and let that LSG fan go home in one piece.
I was going to say here that it's amazing to see somebody have the best day of their life. It's just one of the best things about sport when somebody has an absolute day out. And I looked up Marcus Stoinis because I wanted to be like, this is the best he's ever done. Marcus Stoinis has done this before. He got 147 of 219 runs in a T20 match before. He's got a little bit of previous. It doesn't matter where it was. However, it probably is elevated, isn't it, Ross? Maybe even to 147 status. I don't know. The maximum number you can get. By the fact that it happens away at the Chepok in a big run chase with millions of people watching. And because it happens against Chennai, who are boring and I hate them.
So what I find interesting about this is that I wouldn't straight away go, oh, Marcus Stoinis is going to hit runs at the cheap hawk. Or just you're not going to think that, right? You don't
No.
think Stoinis really good against spin bowling. That is just not what you think. Yet when you look at the bowling lineup of what CSK went through, they only bowled 4 overs of spin in their
Have to
entire
be good
innings.
at spin.
They literally did that, and literally he absolutely feasted. And he looked like Stoinis looks like someone who, Adama Traore, who used to play for Wolves. And they used to oil up his biceps before he'd go out and play to make him more difficult to do it. Stoinis, I think, just does that just for the sex appeal of it. And he kind of goes into this and he absolutely slays. Like, he was absolutely phenomenal. And he went through a couple of gears. There were bits where you thought he's not getting up off the floor. Glenn Maxwell's innings where he literally was like lying on the floor. I thought Stoinis was going to be in that mode. Like, he looked dead and buried. And then Mustafa Zur got absolutely pounded at the end. And Mustafa Zur is no mug, right? Mustafa Zur is a good player.
A good season.
And yeah, Stoinis just said, no, not today, mate. And this is a really big victory for LSG. Like, CSK, well, I think we can come on to them in a bit, are all over the place. They do not know what their best 11 is. Their tactics here were dreadful. Gaikwad has lost his head. The fact that they had bowled 7 different bowlers before the 11th over, and then the Lord gets 3 overs in the game is absolutely shocking.
As does Tushar Pandey.
Yeah,
Yes.
but my view on like LSG at the moment, like they're putting a string of results together, and yeah, they are now sitting in the playoffs. And yeah, if I'm perfectly honest, they're not even getting the best out of some of their players yet. So if they get Mayank Yadav back, that is a big bonus for them. The bowling is the bit. So
this was such a good win. It was such a. I really felt good. Stoinis, I think, is one of cricket's good guys, and for him to be like the one with a little help from, as you said, Deepak Huda and Nicholas Puran, and a little bit of hindrance from Dave Padakal. We won't focus on him. For him to be the one to win it, like he's one of the nice guys, and he's the nice guy for sure on the Lucknow Super Giants team. So I was really pleased for him. Max, someone said that there was only 4 overs of spin bowled in this innings, which is true. Do you want to have a guess at what Marcus Stoinis' career strike rate against left arm orthodox, which is the type of bowling that Ravindra Jadeja, who only bowled 2 of his 4 allotted overs, bowls? Do you want to have a guess?
I would like to have a guess. I'm going to go with 110.
It is 104. So you're really, really close. It's actually worse than you thought.
Yeah.
A little bit of a tactical error, would you say, from Gaikwad, or should we say Gaik fraud?
Yes, I think it was. It's particularly strange because it's the Chapok, right? And it's modelled. The whole game of cricket at the Chapok is modelled on bowling some spin, usually some finger spin in the middle overs, and trying to keep things a bit tight and making it difficult for the other team to score runs. It was quite interesting that also LSG only bowled 4 overs of spin as well. Ravi Bishnoi only bowled 2 overs, and Krunal Pandya only bowled 2 overs. Both went at under 10 economy rate. Matt Henry was the only other bowler who managed to do that for LSG. And Jadeja went at 8 off his 2 overs as well, when everyone else went for quite a lot, apart from Deepak Chahar, who also only bowled 2 overs. But maybe you can understand that, because his role is up front, and we've seen him try and come back a bowl at the death this year, and it hasn't been very pretty.
Yeah.
So I mean, we can sort of say with Deepak Chahar, right, 2 for 11, 2 overs. That's a great start. We've got ahead in the game, take the wins. But then you go, right, well, let's bring the spin. Let's get Jadeja's overs over. And I mean, there was an opportunity, right, to bowl more. Maybe it was, the fear of Puran, for example. But there are things that you'd question, aren't there? And I'd certainly say you didn't make the most of his resources in this game. But the form Marcus Stoinis was in, maybe he would have upped his career strike rate substantially had he bowled Jadeja at him anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think yes, basically. I think there is an element of them not wanting to bowl Jadeja to Puran, and that kind of makes sense. And I think there was like one six that Stoinis hit off Puran too that maybe gave them pause for thought. So just looking at the entry points of players here, they basically took spin out of the attack as soon as Puran is in, which is I just think that's slightly overcautious. That's what I would say. I think you needed wickets at that point in time because you needed to get the set batter out, and that set batter was Stoinis, and
they had a ways to go, right?
I don't see how Shardul Thakur is going to do it.
No, right? You can
understand.
You can afford to ship 12 runs in 2 balls if you then get a wicket. You've got that to play with. The important thing is to get the wicket and get rid of the guys who are going to do damage. If you can get Puran and Huda out, even with Marcus Stoinis doing what he did, you're gonna be pretty much there. And like you say, sure, matchups. I mean, they're a thing, and you should look at them. But also, there does come a time when it's kind of irrelevant what the matchup is because the other option is so much worse at the thing. That might be preferable. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Just bowl the person who's way better.
Well, Rahane bowls some part-time off spin. Why don't we get him to do this matchup bowling? No, Gaikwad, you don't need to do that, mate. You just don't need to do it.
To be fair, we didn't cover it, but Shahrukh Khan did that today.
I think that's exactly right. So the way it actually works, Patirana bowls the over that gets the wicket of David Padikal, which really where the game changes. And Puran comes in. Then they next go to Shardul Thakur. So they had Jadeja was bowling at that end, and then they're like, no, Shardul Thakur, he's the man to get the next breakthrough. He predictably doesn't. Then they go to Hardik Pandya, who gets slogged. And then they go back to Patirana, which I think is fine. And then by that point, you're kind of at the death overs, and maybe you can't bowl another over a spin, or maybe you feel like you can't bowl another over a spin. But it's a really weird thing to do. I mean, even after that, the 16th over bowled by Shardul Thakur. And I don't really like the ESPN win probability thing. I think it's wrong. But it gives you an indication of how big the swing was. That over goes for 20, and ESPN had it as a 23% swing in the likely outcome of who
truly was an impact player, wasn't he? Old
but really went wrong.
I think this just shows that CSK are all over the place at the moment. And Stephen Fleming came out and said kind of as much that they don't. There's a little bit of chasing form on a couple of players at the moment. Daryl Mitchell's been a kind of a disaster pickup really for them and hasn't banged at all. And that balance of the teams all over the place. You've seen kind of Rahane move up to open because Ratchin started to kind of bat suboptimally, as we put it politely. And just it's a little bit frustrating, and normally everyone associates the cement mixers with kind of a solid foundation and a really good way of playing. But Max, your beloved yellow men are what can they do, Max, to your beloved yellow men? I don't know where I went with that. What can they do, Max, to arrest this mini slump in the middle of the IPL?
Play Punjab twice, which is exactly what they're going to be doing in a week or so.
That's not fair, is it?
It's you're spot on, Ross. Like Daryl Mitchell's, it's not really working. Jadeja came up to 4, and I've said the last couple of weeks, I'm worried about CSK because they don't seem to know what their best team is and what they're doing. And I mean, this game was as big an indication of that as any of the last week. It was quite confusing in terms of the lineup they went with. Like Ravi Jadeja's going in at 4, Moeen Ali's not batting, Daryl Mitchell's not really doing anything. I think dropping Ravindra has been a bit reactionary as well. Like he had a couple of failures, but he started the IPL looking every bit a top player that could do the job alongside Gaikwad. And it's got CSK up some great starts. Rahane opening hasn't really worked. He was a big boost last year, wasn't he? I think they probably got more out of him than we certainly expected. Maybe CSK expected it, but it's the middle order, isn't it? That's a concern. They don't seem to know what to do. They're not playing to their strengths, are they? They've got the doob, and they're using the doob really well. And maybe the Mitchell Jadeja thing helps Shubman Dube do what he did. But is it worth getting 27 runs off 29 balls to get Shubham Dubé 66 off 27. That's basically the trade-off, isn't it? And yeah, they need to have a bit of a think about what they're trying to achieve, and
go back to Fortress. Go back to the Fortress. That's what they need to do. And just like, do you know what? Even if the pitches don't look like it, just bowl spin. Bring Tikshana back into the lineup and play him, and just let things kind of work themselves out. They are trying a bit too clever, I believe, CSK at the moment.
Yeah, fair enough. Anything else on this game? It's a good game. Do you want to say how happy they were or anything? or do you feel like you've...
Well, I wasn't happy. I was sad. My yellow men lost.
Yellow men. Yeah, here's a question. We were talking about this in the Discord, which you can join if you're a Patreon, patreon.com/thecricketpod. And this is a little bit of a tangent. The sexiest team in the IPL, who are they? Because someone floated the idea that it was Chennai Super Kings, and I just don't think that lemon yellow is a sexy colour. So
are we talking like purely superficially, physically?
Full package. So you've got the players, what they're wearing, where they play, all of this. The branding, the fans. Kolkata Knight Riders, for example, extremely sexy. They've got Bollywood, purple, gold, Dre Russ, sixes, Sunil Narayan, being all kind of...
They're kind of on the seedier end of sexy, though. They're more like strip club kind of vibe.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But there's sex appeal there. There is sex appeal there. RCB, they've got sex appeal. Virat Kohli is sex appeal.
They're better with the black and red, black, red, gold, and the blue red. I think the blue has reduced their sex appeal.
Absolutely agree. Who's number one though? I'm just interested. Throw a name out.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to say it. My pink boys in that all pink attire was pretty spectacular.
Kit-wise, Rajasthan are there, and like quality of cricket-wise, they're well up there as well. Attractiveness probably suffering a bit. But
I quite like what Gujarat Titans have got going on. The navy blue and gold. I think it's quite. They look kind of like they're living in the future a little bit. They look like it looks like a uniform that they're wearing on a spaceship or something, which I think is quite sleek.
And a side with good hair as well.
Yeah, very good hair.
For sure.
Shubman Gill's is a decent looker. Good hair as well.
Yeah.
I don't think TSK are in the sexy camp.
Not even in the conversation, I'd say. Then the Punjab are the least sexy. There's just too much going wrong there. Don't stick your dick in crazy. That's a good way to end too. When we come back, we'll be talking Rajasthan Royals, the Mumbai Indians.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Cricket Podcast, where we are talking sex appeal and the IPL ranking teams and such. Causa has come in with a shout and a half on that before we get to Mumbai Indians and Rajasthan Royals. Sunrisers Hyderabad. Not in the history, I'd say, but this season they've got to be in the conversation for most sexy team in the IPL. In fact, I'm going Sunrisers Hyderabad. You've got Pat Cummins.
Cricket-wise, yeah, I can't be saying that orange is sexy.
But it's got kind of a black. It's got like tiger print on it. Everyone knows that tigers are one of the sexiest animals.
I mean, it's like a cartoon tiger. It's like Tony the tiger. Like Frosties. See, there's nothing sexy about Frosties. There are reasons that. I mean, they're you can have a conversation about them, but I feel there's too much letting them down.
Do you want to know how you could make yourself sexier? You could head over to manscaped.com and use the code CricketPod for 20% off and free shipping. Manscaped are the leaders in below the waist grooming. We can all testify to that. And you know what? They do a decent beard trimmer. That's what I've been using recently on my beard. I rate that. I do rate that. So head over to manscaped.com, use the code CricketPod for 20% off plus free shipping. They're also doing some really good work in terms of giving to charity. At the moment, as we mentioned on the last show, I'm not going to go through that all again, but we're good guys, and we're recommending them to you. Use the code CricketPod for 20% off plus free shipping. Head to the show notes for that if you're lazy. Max, what happened on Monday?
On Monday, it was Mumbai against Rajasthan. Quite a big game for Mumbai, but they had a tough time of it against a very strong side. Suryakumar Yadav, as foretold, having scored 70-odd runs in his last game, failed in this game. And that was after both openers were out cheaply, and Mumbai were reduced to 20 for 3 at the hands of Sandeep Sharma, who then accounted for Tilak Varma, who scored 65, and was kind of the mainstay alongside Nel Wadera. And ultimately, it was just a kind of uninspiring 179 for 9 for Mumbai. 5 wickets for old Sandeep, a fantastic return for him. And we were wondering whether it would be a tricky chase for Rajasthan or not. The answer, not, despite a brief delay. Yashasvi Jaiswal scored 104 off 60 balls. That's what happened. He was really good, and the game was over. And I'm glad that was the Monday one and not today. Especially because
the rain was an unwanted delay. This is one of those ones, Ross, where the number of balls left and therefore net run rate don't quite do justice to how much of a thrashing this was. Like the whole way through this game, Rajasthan were just better than Mumbai. They did exactly what they did in the first game when they played them. Took loads of wickets really early, made it hard for them. In this one, to be fair to Mumbai, they did fight back a little bit better, and some props have to go to Tilak Varma for a nice innings, and Nihal Wadera as well, chipping in. But 179, I mean, honestly, it could have been 40 runs too few, the way that Rajasthan got there. It was an absolute cakewalk for them, wasn't it?
It was, and we said before on the preview of the weekend that this Rajasthan Royals team was one of the teams that could probably negotiate the Bumrah issue quite well, and if they can get around the Bumrah issue, then actually all of the other bowlers are going to be in the firing line. Really, we were waiting to see Jaiswal get to the party. He'd threatened in the game before that he'd found a little bit of form. He got through the power play again here, and it just went through the gears here. Joss Buttler was a little bit unlucky to get out. Piyush Chawla bowled one that kept a little bit low, kind of skidding on with the arm. And then Sanju Samson just kind of, I don't know, like an old hat. Just kind of when you're getting to kind of 180 and you've got off to a flyer, you have the privilege, right, to end up batting kind of however you want if you've got a Jaiswal at the other end, just flaying it to all areas of the ground. It was a questionable decision for Mumbai to start to shift things around. Max, you raised at the weekend that CSK were kind of all over the place in terms of their selection, but Mumbai had stumbled across a bit of a winning formula and a team that actually was likely to put together a good sequence of results if they could kind of keep them on the same pitch. Hardik Pandya turns up at the press conference at the toss and goes, I don't really like making changes. So what are we doing today? We're making 3.
Yeah, it's Max. I think there's a serious question here for Mumbai. Rajasthan were just good again. Right, they're a good team. 7-1 is a fantastic record. They're in the playoffs. They can start resting players with 6 games to go if they wanted to in this group stage, or trying things out, whatever they want to do. Or they could probably just win 5 more matches and cruise all the way. Mumbai, on the other hand, they've got 6 matches to go. They've only won 3 so far. Minimum they're going to need. Everyone says minimum. They're going to need 5 wins to make the playoffs. Can they go 5-1 over the last 6?
It's tough, isn't it? I mean, even if you've got favourable fixtures coming up, which they don't, because they have to play KKR twice and Sunrisers. Even if you've got favourable fixtures, that is such a tough ask because it's T20 cricket and the variance is so high. Rajasthan have been all conquering. They're 7-1, but that's the level they've got to get to, and that's the level of a team who are far and above everyone else. So it's tricky, and it's basically the start that's cost them, isn't it? Was it 3 defeats on the bounce to open their account?
Yep.
And that's basically why they're not going to make it, because if they'd kept sort of the form of what they'd had over the last couple of weeks, 3 weeks throughout the course of the IPL, I think they'd probably be well in with a shout. But as they are now, I think it looks too much for them, and yeah, I mean that's their own fault, really. A little unfortunate that Sky wasn't available to start with, but that's not it's not the only reason they lost. So yeah, I think it's looking tricky for Mumbai. So I mean, where does that leave us, sort of in terms of who's likely to make it? I think it's basically CSK and Lucknow, isn't it? They're also 8 games in. LSG
And Delhi.
LSG points on the board, and Delhi are also there. I mean, Delhi could end up being with the same record as Mumbai if Mumbai win their next game. So then the equation becomes identical, right? So it's looking tricky for anyone who's currently below 5th, which is a shame for the closing stages. But you never know. It's the IPL, and funny things do have a habit of happening.
We're only just over halfway, Max. It's not quite the final throws.
It's not, but you got KKR and SRH as 2nd and 3rd, and they've played 7 games. Everyone else has played at least 8. It's
Max,
tricky to see anything else happening, isn't it?
I want to talk about the big elephant in the room, Max.
Mm.
And that is how bad Hardik Pandya has been for Mumbai Indians. We made a joke when Luke Wood turned up in the first game that he'd bowl a couple of overs and then we'll never see him again. And that's exactly what has happened. And Hardik Pandya has taken it on that he's bowling the first over for Mumbai Indians. And in this game, there was a partnership that was with Jaiswal and Samson. The commentators, the crowd, everyone is screaming out for Bumrah to kind of to be bowled. And Hardik kind of takes the ball. He's failed with the bat continuously as well throughout the tournament. Again, not really clear on his role definition in this team. At what point do kind of Mumbai fans who are not in the Rohit kind of sect start to go and question his position in this team?
What, question his position in the team or as captain?
Yeah. It was a bit of both. He's pretty devoid of form. He's supposed to be one of India's starlets, right? You don't get an all-rounder who bowls 85 plus miles an hour and can bat as brilliantly as he's done in the past. But where is he at this season, Max? Do we think he's as bad as all the furore is kind of saying, or is it just kind of carry on, given to the end of the season, it's probably going to be all right?
Well, he's hardly been great, has he? But I mean, can you tell me who in the Mumbai Indians squad is going to be a better option than an out of form, slightly Hardik Pandya? I mean, it's it's not like there's
Mario Shepherd.
Yeah, but there have been some confusing things. I mean, do you think the whole furore has got to him? Like, is he trying too hard? Has he come in and tried to stamp his authority over everything and try and be too cute when really all he needs to do is, do the basics right, because he's got a bunch of really quite good players around him. Is the disharmony affecting things, do you think, or is it just?
It does say that the trying too hard element, I think, does kind of come into it, and there's a little bit of arrogance, I think, coming into it. I think in the Discord and on Twitter, we highlighted that he absolutely loves himself, right, in that space, and I think that in the chat, as Navneet's highlighted that he could have bowled Bumrah, kind of Tassara, Kurtzy. Like, there's loads of players that he could have gone to, but he goes to himself. And sometimes there's a bit around, I'm the captain, I need to take kind of control of this situation. But he's not Pat Cummins, right? in that space, he's not playing in that sphere.
Yeah, so I think Hardik Pandya is probably a 4th or 5th bowler, isn't he, in a T20? And like, he's a decent one, but
he's an enabler, isn't he? He is an enabler, right? But he's looking like Shardul Thakur rather than the Hardik Pandya that we know. So it's quite disappointing.
Can I make a suggestion that maybe he hasn't been good for 4 or 5 years?
Oh, okay.
Like, I think, maybe good is the wrong way to put this. He did okay in 22-23. He averaged 31 at 136 last year.
Yeah, it's a different role, wasn't it? He was batting 4.
Yeah,
he'd
and
carved a new role for himself.
44 at 131 the year before. Now, neither of those are bad, but they're not. Neither the strike rate there is just pretty pedestrian. Like
it's not the Hardik Pandya of old MI where he was coming in at 6 and being obscene.
Exactly. Yeah, 2020 was he struck at 180, average 35, struck at 180. That's that's what the role he's playing for Mumbai. That's the strike rate he needs. He's striking at 142 this year, but I think this might be just the back of a trend. 2021 struck at 113, and in international cricket, the numbers aren't massively different. He's not been blasting it for India and playing a different role for Gujarat. He's just been quite slow wherever he's batted, and so I'm wondering maybe he's a guy who's taken quite a lot of injuries, taken quite a lot of punishment. He's probably been practicing skills that he needed for Gujarat that he doesn't need for Mumbai and India, and perhaps the sharpness from that finisher part of his game is blunted now, and maybe Hardik Pandya just isn't that good a player. I mean, like you would say, he bowls 85 miles an hour. Yesterday he didn't, or Monday he didn't. He bowled about 82 miles an hour. He was bowling James Anderson pace.
James Anderson bowls quicker than that.
Well, there's nothing wrong with the speed, but it's not. He hasn't got the skills James Anderson has. Let's put the pace to one side. Hardik Pandya can't swing the ball in either direction. He can't bowl a wobble ball. He's got a pretty decent bumper, and he can bowl back of a length pretty well. Which
I can't wait for Jimmy's IPL contract next year.
But if you're going to be doing that, you need to be bowling 86 miles an hour. You can't be doing it at 82, otherwise you just what are you?
Yeah, basically having a change of pace doesn't really mean that much if your fast pace isn't quite fast.
So I'm just throwing it out there. Like I don't know. I could be proved wrong. But I
like it as
maybe
a theory.
Whether we need to reevaluate how good Hardik Pandya is.
Is there scope for Hardik Pandya to move up and play that different role in that MO side? I mean, I'm looking at Tim David came in and faced 5 balls at the end in that game.
But why would you do that when you've got Sky
came in at 8
and Tilak Varma, who are better than Hardik in that role?
Well,
there's no. I understand at Gujarat why you do that, because it's like we saw them today. It's a much of a muchness there, isn't it? It's not. He's not picking anyone good out.
I would say, why is Mohammed Nabi coming in at 5?
Well, yeah,
they lost wickets so early, pretty much. Like if you,
and then you can send. Then if you want that role done, Hardik Pandya can do it because
he's
that's the kind of thing, right?
I thought it was a really weird thing because in some cases it looks like he wants to take responsibility on, like when Jaiswal and Samson were kind of getting set. In other cases, he runs away a little bit scared. He should have come in when Nabi came in. I agree with you, Max, on that front. Good news though. Let's switch to Rajasthan Royals, my beautiful pink boys.
Okay, go on.
Because Sandeep Sharma had an absolute day out with the ball.
We completely forgot the guy who won the game.
Sandeep Sharma wasn't, just a reminder for people, Sandeep Sharma wasn't picked up in the mini auction, and he came in as a replacement, right, for Rajasthan. Like the guy is absolutely excellent. His bowling record in the IPL is fantastic. And yeah, I think here the blitzkrieg up front and the game plan that Rajasthan Royals have of Trent Boult can swing the ball and he does it pretty well up front. All a real knack for taking wickets. Sandeep Sharma opening up has got a fantastic record at taking wickets as well. Has demonstrated that he can do it at the back end. They've got the sacrifice in there with Avesh Khan, who seems to bowl like a drain every now and again. And then they've got a nice mixture of Ashwin and Chahal, who took his 200th wicket in the IPL, for those of you who love a bit of milestones around cricket. But Sandeep Sharma really did himself proud in this one, gents.
Sandeep Sharma's got a genuine chance at making the T20 World Cup, I think. But we'll see, because there's no Shami, is there? And a couple of the other backups are injured. Probably needs to have a roaring second half of the tournament. Yeah, maybe I'm overstating that a little bit. I'll take that back. But he did bowl very well. He did bowl really, really well in that game. Right, we're going to move on to talk a little bit about the next 2 matches. Our next show is on Friday evening, when you should be joining us to hear our thoughts on Kolkata Knight Riders v Punjab Kings and Sunrisers Hyderabad v Royal Challengers Bengaluru. Tomorrow, Max, it is SRH v RCB, the battle of the continents. Who's going to win the battle of the continents?
Oh God, is it already that time again for RCB? It feels like it was only yesterday that they were ground into the dirt. It was actually 9 days ago that so they've had just over a week.
287.
Yeah. It's not the Chinnaswamy, so maybe 287 won't be happening, but I can't see there being much of a difference of a result from what happened last time. SRH all the way.
Ross, you made a crazy prediction last time this happened. Do you want to go on record with anything here? Because it might be the best prediction in the history of the cricket podcast.
Thank you. I'll take that. This has got one of those bits sort of where sunrises sometimes get in their own way. Like historical sunrise over the last kind of 4 or 5 years, sunrises have always had a bit where they've threatened a little bit. In some cases, they've really disappointed. This is a game where, on paper, they are just so much stronger. You look at the Royal Challengers bowling lineup, and it's an absolute disaster. And we kind of said that. I don't think on this occasion they are going to break the record. Richard's thinking 300 is definitely on the cards. I just think the ground doesn't particularly allow for it at the Hyderabad. I still think it'll be relatively high scoring, but yeah, the Chinnaswamy is a joke, right? I think we could play games of cricket there and hit some kind of big old sixes. But I think that a home game, Sunrisers on an upward trajectory. It's got every single recipe of them shitting the bed and RCB managing to sneak a win here with a Virat Kohli vintage century.
Well, potentially more unlikely than Sunrisers breaking the record again. On Friday, we've got KKR v the PBKs, the Punjab Kings of Comedy. Max, is there any chink of hope, light for Punjab here, or is this just?
I'm so willing them to win a game because like they're 2-5 at the moment now.
Yeah.
And like that could so easily be maybe not fully the other way around, but it could so easily be a different story. They've blown it so many times in the space of the last 3 weeks. They've done things that are quite good, but so I really want them to do well, but I can't see it. KKR are looking good. They're looking hot. They've got a lot about them. But I think again, it's there's so much spin for KKR, and Punjab famously very good at playing spin. There's KKR.
I'll make a nice prediction here. Punjab Kings to record the lowest score of the IPL this year.
Oh,
wow. Will Mitch Stark get his economy below 11 as a result of this game, Ross?
He'll still go for 11. He'll bowl 2 overs for 22. And then Punjab will be bowled out by the 17th over.
Okay. That would be quite funny. Right, I think that probably wraps up the cricket podcast then. Thanks very much for listening and watching, everyone. Just a final reminder, make sure you click like and subscribe if you're over on YouTube. I think we're about 30 subscribers short of 16,000. We've got a decent number of people listening now, 100, and that will go up. That's the live count. Will be a few thousand by the morning. If you're one of those few thousand people listening and you haven't clicked subscribe, help us out. It's very close to another milestone for us. And if you're on any other platform, just click like, follow, whatever it is. That all helps to leave a review. The aggregators love reviews, so leave loads of reviews that all are 5-star and all say things like, which one of us has the most sex appeal? Put that in a review. I think that's what prospective new fans of the Cricket Podcast will want to know. How sexy are the hosts and in what order?
Well, we did have a review, Jack, from ZA. Really enjoying listening to this podcast all the time. 5 stars. So thanks, ZA.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, Jack, I'm not sure you want to encourage that given some of the chat that was going on the live show around Shag, Marry, Kill for the 3 of us. So,
what were the results?
I've seen
killed.
2 answers that were the same. Jack's dead twice.
Yeah. All right, we're going to wrap up there. Catch you on Friday.